Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and what time you might be tuning in to. Welcome to the Truck Around and Find Out podcast, where Keith and I like to get together, discuss some of our fun and hot topics surrounding the trucking industry, some safety and community, and our lives up here in northern Colorado. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Byers, the owner of Front Range Compliance and DOT University, and we have Mr. Keith Couch with us from Rush Truck Centers and Rocky Mountain Peterbilts. Keith, how are you doing today?
Good, Ryan. How are you?
Oh, you know what? If I was any better, maybe it'd actually snow here in Colorado. So,
We could use it.
oh my gosh, it is crispy, and we're gonna have a rough summer if this keeps up. Oh my gosh, it is so dry right now. Thinking I probably ought to start pulling the sprinklers, running some hoses, and get some water around my yard. At this
I did
point.
that last week.
Did you? Did
Yep.
you? I was looking at I got a little row of evergreens on the side, and that's become the dog's favorite place to pee, and I think that's the only water they're getting. And I kind of noticed they're starting to take on a copper tone, so I was like, I better get some,
better get some water
fresh water underneath them. Maybe drive some tree spikes or
I was shocked to how the ground just soaked it up.
yeah.
It's dry.
It is so dry. I think if you walk around and look, you're starting to see the cracks in the earth where
Yes.
things are starting to get a little bit too dry. So yeah, it is crispy out there. But Keith, we've been putting out some casts, and you've been super busy. I hope work's been going for you. And how are you ringing in the new year, 2026?
Good. I'm 20. This is our first time together in 26. So, happy New Year to both you and Luke.
Happy New
A
Year.
little bit late, but no, it's been busy. I'm glad 2025 is over. Personally, kind of a rough year for business. Lost a couple of uncles, good family members that are going to be dearly missed. Had quite an ordeal with the dog in Marble Falls, Texas.
You did.
Kelly had a major leg injury in Marble Falls, Texas. So, and she's still recovering from that.
Yeah.
That leg still bothers her, but pretty traumatic leg injury. So I'm kind of glad 25 is over. It's like I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, that whole situation to happen to you on vacation. I think we need to dedicate a podcast and have you tell that story
That
because
might be
it's
a good one.
It's a remarkable story. The ending is phenomenal, and it just I don't know. It just to me it just shows the power of the Almighty Himself.
Oh, yes.
Because it was quite the situation. So one of these days I'd love to get back into that one with you.
Yeah, we can do that. But other than that, 2026 looks to be better for business.
Good.
Got a lot more activity going on right now. That's why I haven't been able to hit the last couple podcasts.
That's
but
good though.
It is. I'll take it. When you're 100% commission, man, when the iron's hot, you got to strike. You got to go. So
Well, and truck sales have just kind of been rough. I think I kind of compute it to our small business sales, here at Front Range Compliance, because, in 2025, I mean, it was almost non-existent. Now we've had a little bit of movement on some small businesses. I've got 3 meetings today with some new clients coming in, all little small companies, and I love the small business. It's great to get those great big clients, and everything else. And we have the ones that we're working with, and I absolutely appreciate everything that they do for us. But that in mind, they can also wake up tomorrow and say, "Oh, we've got a different solution," and you're done, and that revenue is instantly gone. So I would love to replace them, with the 100 small businesses and work with those individuals. So fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I understand that, we're seeing that. I think a lot of that is, some of the fallout that we're seeing from all these nuclear verdicts that we've been seeing all the way up into 2025, and I don't think people really understand that impact that these nuclear verdicts are doing to the industry. So I think the industry really needs to start calling on Congress to get some tort law out there and slow these nuclear verdicts down.
So We might have some new listeners. What's a nuclear verdict?
So nuclear verdict is these massive lawsuits that we're seeing for tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's it kind of started. It's been going on. They kind of started 5 to 7, 8 years ago, I believe, somewhere in that time when we really started hearing this term kicked around. And it always starts with one, but it's a great big huge verdict where somebody sues the trucking company. Trucking company didn't accept the settlement. They ended up going to trial, and the jury issues the award, and they're not treating it like an award. They're treating it like a reward. Like, oh, you got into a trucking crash. Trucking company shouldn't have done that. Shame on them. Well, so we're going to give you this great big huge. We're going to basically make you a multimillionaire. And they're giving away these verdicts that, to be honest with you, people and probably the person and their family all together would have never in their lifetime made this kind of money, but they're just awarding and rewarding this, just saying, well, we just think they deserve it. And it's went from being such a big business to just from lawyers, the ambulance chasers, to, I mean, it's an entirely commercial, it's turned into a commercial enterprise. You go in, you're seeing down the highway, the lawyers everywhere. When I was on vacation, I came across on local TV with Frank Azar.
Oh, yeah.
They're not even advertising, have you been injured in a crash? They're advertising, did you get hit by a trucking company? Did you get hit by a truck? Yeah. So they're doing everything they can to go after these trucking. And it used to be, it was hurry up and get that settlement, and they, now they want it to go the distance because they're seeing these big nuclear verdicts. Well, overall, what that is doing is it's killing the insurance companies, right? So what is insurance? Of course, their response is they're raising the rates, and they're and I mean, it's to the point where when I get a call from a small company, and I've noticed this over the last couple of years, but a little small company will call me up and they're ready to rock and roll, and I got myself burned a couple times because they made the call and we just jumped in, got their whole program set up, sent them the invoice, and didn't hear back from them, and they called me and ultimately said, yeah, we had to stop because we went to get our insurance, and we just can't afford it, because of what they're charging. It was sometimes double, triple, and quadruple what the cost that it was before. So it just is completely shutting down that side of the small industry. So our policy had to become that, hey, if you're starting a trucking company, you call your insurance, get that set up. As soon as you're locked on and you're ready to proceed, call us back and we'll get them going. Yeah. And that's when I started noticing the phone calls quit, and you'd follow up with them, and they're like, yeah, we just can't do it. So that's unfortunate, especially in our society. I mean, this is the American dream: start your business and get going. Sure. And trucking is a good business to get started. Well, for years it has been. I think we're going to see it come back, though. I've got big hopes for 2026, Keith. I'm with you. I'm ready for the new year to come rolling in and see what it brings. So I will say we rung in 2026. We had the largest drug and alcohol enrollment so far to date that we've had here at Front Range Compliance. So I think Nicole, I appreciate all the work and hard work that she does, and Tina with the drug and alcohol. Nicole, I think she ushered in. We opened up with our first quarter randoms went out, and I believe so far there's been, I don't know, like 130 to 150 tests. She'll probably call me up after she hears this and give me the right number. Nicole, apologize, but should have got my numbers better. But for first random, our first set of random for the year, to hit our 25% for the overall year, it's a pretty good opening to start of the new year for us.
Yeah, good.
So perfect. Well, let's hope that things kind of usher in and we have a good year, and let's see those truck sales go back up. So
yeah, and just a reminder for everybody out there before we get into our topic today is if you're looking at a new truck, new emissions, January 1st of 2027. So I think all manufacturers are going to see what they call a backfill this year. So you get a lot of the fleets putting their orders out into October, November, December, and then as everybody else comes in, it kind of backfills. It fills up the schedule backwards. And all of a sudden, I think by May of this year, May or June, Peterbilt will be sold out for the year.
Wow. So better get in line now
while
you can.
Yeah. Right now, we can get trucks fairly quickly. The factory's easy to work with because they've got openings. But as that tightens up or sells out,
Yeah.
Prices go up. They get harder to work with.
Sure.
Everything gets more difficult. So if it's something you're looking at doing, call me or get with your sales rep on whatever brand it is, because I think all the brands are going to experience the same thing. Because next January, 1 year away, 12 months away, we got a new engine.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody in this industry should realize, anytime we start getting all those new government requirements forced into trucks and everything else, it tends to change.
And this isn't just new emissions; it's a whole new motor.
Whole new motor. Huh?
So if you don't want to be the guinea pig,
well, you expect it to come off flawless, right? No problem. Yeah. Everything is good.
Well, this is the new 50-state emission engine that Cummins is coming out with, and I just don't know what could possibly go wrong with some of the stuff they've got on this thing. It's like, okay. And it's going to be more money.
Yeah.
You're talking another 20, 30 grand just for an engine. Just the engine.
Just the engine. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's pretty wild.
So, just keep that in mind.
Perfect. And over the last couple of weeks, we had some topics. We talked about, the new marijuana with, the executive order to declassify marijuana. So I kind of put that out. I've been talking to a lot of the industry folks, and, there's a lot of people that are just instantly jumping into, we're going to stop testing for marijuana. And I just remind everybody, just to kind of rehash that, the FMCSA has not legalized marijuana. And even once this pushes through as a Schedule III substance and then it's accepted federally, it may change some laws on marijuana, but do not expect the FMCSA to downgrade it and remove it from. They'll probably change their language, but it's still going to be probably a banned substance, and until they can get the science behind it. So this is not the time to go toke it up and say, oh, we're good to go. So, make sure you're educating your drivers. There's, of course, going to be a lot of drivers, I'm thinking, that are going to think, oh, it's good. It's a Class 3 substance. I can use it like I use alcohol. Not yet. So just hold back, don't just assume. Make sure that you are educating your drivers. Take time in your trainings, your safety meetings to really talk to them about that, and hold steady on your policies for now. We should be seeing some information this year come out about it, because it's, I would imagine it's going to be a big impact. And of course it comes with a lot of questions. So just be aware. So anyways, just wanted to kind of mention that, since this keeps coming up. That's what some of my phone rings and people wanting to know, like, nope, can't use it yet. So anyways, so Keith, today I think, you threw out a topic a while back, said, hey, maybe one of the things we should talk about is some truck stop etiquette. And you've got a little bit more time behind the wheel experience than me. My time behind the wheel kind of extends to really the, my teenage years working on the farm and ranch, and maybe a little bit during my logging industry days, because I did log for 3 years. But other than that, I've spent my time more in enforcement. So I'm kind of on the other side of this thing. Mm-hmm. So I thought this might be a really good topic for you to kind of lay down some of your experiences and some things like that. So yeah.
Well, truck stop etiquette, really, what is that? And, I think we plugged it into AI here, and it comes up with parking and driving, and, drive slow, use designated spots, don't block people in or out, and fuel islands. That's the one that gets me every time. Guy gets in there, fuels up, and just leaves the truck there.
Well, I think we see that in the regular fuel islands for the 4-wheelers also, especially at Buc-ee's. It's like, hey, I'm going to go spend 45 minutes shopping, and I'm just going to use this fuel pump as my parking spot.
That's why they have all those fuel
pumps.
That's
why they have 200 fuel pumps out there.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Yeah, it's, I guess I don't think of it as a topic. It's like, this is just common courtesy.
It is. But, just like any profession, it takes all kinds to make the world go round. Mm-hmm. So, you get some people that are just naturally, maybe the way their life has led them and the way they carry themselves, they're just inconsiderate. They don't think of others. So when I think of truck stop etiquette, one of my biggest things is like, think of your neighbors, be neighborly, and try to do the right thing. So that kind of thing. So that's kind of,
absolutely.
so I think a lot of this is some good common sense, but I think it's pretty good topics to just share and, so people can kind of take it out and include it in their trainings. As a truck driver, you're not only representing the trucking community, and you're representing yourself, but you are representing your company, and you've got to put forward this image that, hey, we're the company that y'all want to come and work for. Because every trucking company, all the ones I work with, getting those good drivers in, that good team helps to both, keep that bottom line rolling. It stops the turnover, and you get the best and the safest drivers. So I think that there's some good topics in here just to kind of elaborate on.
Yeah,
so.
and I think I think the biggest one, when I first was driving a guy walked up to me and said, "Shut off your headlights," and because I was moving around in the parking lot, and he just waved at me. He was nice about it, but he said, "Hey, shut off your headlights," and I was like, "Oh," and I just an oversight, but
Yeah,
that is probably the number one thing. If you pull into a truck stop after dark, anyway, shut the headlights off.
No need to be shining spotlights into everybody's cab.
No, and it wasn't till a few years later. I didn't spend a lot of time in truck stops, but I understood that a few years later.
Of course.
People doing that and everything.
I think there's probably some common mistakes that can get made, most definitely, something like that. But most definitely, try to learn. Drivers, be professional about it when you can. It's just like an employee-driven safety program. If you talk to people and you're respectful, sometimes that's the best approach to it. But I'm sure tempers do fly every once in a while there at those truck stops.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, we went through, I was doing some research on it, and I found this little article by HMD Trucking called Truck Stop Etiquette, the Unwritten Rules for Professional Drivers. And I thought he did a pretty good job putting it together, this driver. So I never saw his name in this, but, shout out to him. We're going to reference your article.
Yeah, it's a good article.
So, so just kind of talks about it. So I think we've kind of went through and laid out what we're talking about when it comes to that truck stop etiquette. And it's kind of funny. You look at the points, and it's kind of the same thing that AI popped up, but there's a couple others in there. So, you did mention the fuel islands. So, try not to be parking in there and that kind of thing. So get in, get out. Remember, everybody's on that timer. So we want to make sure that with that hours of service that you're not wasting time and some things like that. Now, what about the Jake brake thing? Is that, in your time at truck stops, I mean, if you're hearing the drivers pulling through there and getting that low rumble?
You're already going so slow that's not an issue.
I'm sure there is people, though, that just leave it on, so you get every once in a while that low rumble. But I think that's probably, one more thing. Just make sure you get that shut down.
I'm sure it happens, but that's that very, very obnoxious guy that probably very young.
Very young.
And doesn't, just being a jerk to be a jerk. But,
Sure.
Because like I said, there's hardly anywhere you can get up that fast in a parking lot or truck stop parking lot.
Okay. I got
So,
you. Gotcha. Yeah.
I don't think that's a big deal. Headlights are definitely a big deal.
Big deal till you leave it on and wake somebody up and they get pissed, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So I hear you. What about, like, as you're moving around in there and stuff like that, one of the points that he makes in there is signal your intentions, using your lights and signaling around. And
That's probably something I could be better at.
let people know what your intentions are, where you're rolling.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay. You did talk about the dimming the headlights. I think you recommended if you can shut them all the way off so you're not
just shut your headlights off and just run your marker lights.
Not running through there. Run through your markers. Are they pretty well lit in most of your experiences?
They are.
So that kind of thing.
Most
places, yeah, of course. But with the shortage of parking, there's a lot of places that you can't get into. So you got the guys parking, along the roadways and some stuff like that. So once you're parked, how do you feel about, keeping your truck lit up with your markers and some stuff like that?
That's what I always did.
Always keep them going.
Now I know there's the anti-idling stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we never had APUs, so we always just let the truck run.
Oh, okay.
Which most people frown on today, but
yeah, I hear you.
Hey, if it's 0 10 degrees below zero or something like that, and you don't have an APU, you don't have much of a choice.
How does that work with some of these new trucks that just flat out won't let that truck idle for very long?
Well, that's a problem. We can do S-bar bunk heaters. They pull a little bit of diesel out of the tanks. They use like a half a cup or a quarter of a cup of diesel an hour.
Oh, okay.
And they'll drive you out of the sleeper. They'll flat heat it up.
They'll flat heat it up, huh?
They will.
Okay.
And they're very good. They work very well. They're cheap and easy from the factory. So that does help. We do a lot of those.
Okay.
Because they're so quick, cheap, and easy.
Yeah.
And I sell a lot of trucks north of us here, so where they do get some very cold temperatures. But if you need to idle your truck, it's getting harder and harder. So you've got to have something like an APU or something to run instead of the engine.
Sure. I gotcha. Well, talking about, those lights and stuff like that, you got companies like my friends over at Western Distributing, where, you've seen how they dress their trucks
Beautiful
up. There's
trucks.
a lot of different companies that do that. But one of the things, I haven't been with their current policies, but at Western Distributing, it's always kind of been a safety reward. So the longer you go accident-free miles and the more safe driving that you get, then you get a little bit more of a budget to dress your truck up a little bit. So when you see those big dressed trucks, and Western does put some beautiful trucks out there, some of them can put on quite the light show. So I would say that little etiquette goes with that too. I have run in there a couple times where a guy was driving down the road and decided to flip the light show switch, and all of his lights start blinking and going crazy, and then they end up getting pulled over. So remember that is for the truck stop. But again, not a disturbance. If you're capable of really putting that on for Western, I think it's a way of kind of putting up a billboard saying, "Hey, look at us," and their name goes all the way down that trailer. And every time I've seen a Western truck, they look very polished and pretty, and lots of chrome, lots of everything.
They do a good job.
They do a real good job. But so if you're capable of that, you can do it, but I'd say still respect those hours of sleeping, so we wouldn't want to just disturb the other drivers through the night, that kind of thing. So, yeah, and as that would go, okay. One of the things that's in there is lend a helping hand, and for when you see fellow people that are struggling, some things like that, help them out if it comes up and that kind of thing, and then just some basic rules that is just there. It's just probably just be a good human,
Well, yeah, and some of these truck stops get so nasty looking.
Yeah,
I mean and it's like if all the drivers just cleaned up after themselves, you don't have to clean up after anybody else, just yourself.
Yeah.
These things would look a lot better.
It's one of my rules that anytime I go up in the forest, I go fishing, things like that, try to leave it cleaner than you found it. So, you'll go places where you go fishing, and you'll see where, people have just left a spool of fishing line and trash and stuff like that. And I always cuss at them, and we try to pack it out. If we, find it, we try to take that stuff out of there. I think it's probably a pretty good rule of thumb too at the truck stops. Take time, throw your trash away, put it in. People need to clean it up, and and we got to leave it respectable for the next guy that wants to come in there. So
yeah, I learned the value of that. I spent a week in the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
And everything that you took in had to come out.
Yeah.
And
oh, nice.
Well, you learn a lot when you got to carry everything you own and are going to eat in with you, and all the packaging and trash and everything. It's all got to come back out with you.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. So, I think that just in conclusion, I think, when you go into those truck stops that, keep in mind that you're going to have some rookies in there. You're going to have some old guys, and you're probably just going to come across every personality that's known to mankind.
And just like any other parking lot, that's where the majority of the accidents happen.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Generally speaking, they're not major accidents or fatalities, but they're fender benders.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a truck in at Rush Truck Center, Greeley. A guy was sitting in his truck, and he said the truck to the left of him started to pull out, and it didn't pull out far enough before they turned right, and just drug his hood right off his truck.
Yeah,
while he was sitting in the truck.
Wow, yeah, that's a rough day right there.
Yeah, well, luckily he had a dash cam.
Sure.
Because they immediately said, no, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. Even though it's his paint on the side of their trailer. Yeah, he was telling me the whole story. He said, I'm just so thankful I had a dash cam.
Yeah. Drivers usually throw a little bit of a fit when the dash cams start getting put in, but it seems like, after a day or two running them, they tend to kind of relax their stance.
And this was
they really help out.
so easy and so clear. It's like, pull the card out and, well, here you go, officer.
Yeah,
You
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, fantastic. Well, hey, let's talk about a truck around and find out story. Keith, you were telling me a little bit ago about one of your little situations that you ran into in a truck stop, and I think that's a pretty good truck around and find out topic.
This would have been back in the early 90s. Excuse me. I had a truck. I was selling trucks out of Montana at the time, and I flew down, saw Kelly. It's my girlfriend then, now my wife. And had to go back up to Montana. Had a Kenworth T600 flat top, and I picked up a new set of Merritt doubles from Merritt Trailers in Denver. I think it was a 40-foot grain trailer, 20-foot drawbar, and a 20-foot pup behind it.
So like a Rocky Mountain double?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So I was all permitted to get out of Colorado, through Merritt and everything. They handle all that for you, and paid my trip permit fee through Wyoming. And I took off early, like at 1 a.m., got into Casper. I think it's the Flying J there in Casper. I needed fuel. So it's 5 a.m., and so I see the fuel island, and I see the truck stop there, and pull off the interstate, pull in, and I'm like, oh, perfect. 5 a.m., there aren't too many people at the fuel pump. So I pull up, I fuel up. So I think I got plenty to get home now.
Sure.
And so I jump in the truck, and this is where the mistake happened, because I thought, oh, I can go straight and then turn right and go out to that street and then right turn and then get back on the interstate.
Uh-oh.
So I pulled on through, turned right, and as I'm headed down, I can see forward. Well, there's nothing but guys, trucks there. They're all there's no way to go around the building. I'm like, oh crap. Well, I've already turned, and I've got a set of doubles.
And so backing is out.
Backing up is pretty much out.
At that point.
At that point, I'm done. If I'd have just stayed at the fuel pump, I could have backed up enough. Mm-hmm. Those, the trailers start to look like a train wreck.
Sure.
But if you're careful and don't get them into one another, I could have backed up enough to at least make a turning and get out of there. But I pulled on through.
Yeah. Committed.
So now I've committed. And so I'm like, well, now what? So I thought, well, I got to get as far to the right as I can, and then get as tight as I can there, and then crank this thing around to try to make this U-turn. It took me the better part of a half hour to 45 minutes to make that turn, just back and forth, just really, really slow.
Yeah.
And that was a total rookie move.
Oh, boy.
Not knowing what is around there, knowing I can't back up. I mean, they're hard enough to back up with just a single trailer, but that's doable. I could have done that, could have shot between one of the fuel lines, and I'd have been okay. Thought about dropping the pup, but okay, what do I hook back up with it?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't, but it took a long time, but I finally got out of there.
Well, you got out of there. I'm sure drivers listen to this. I would imagine that there's a good handful, almost every one of them, that can relate to time that they've got themselves into a pickle. Like made that.
What?
Yeah. I see that just with drivers just around the area. You see a truck that's trying like right here at Johnson's Corner, the exits in and out of there they're a nightmare. So
they are.
You see people driving clear down through the next town trying to find and figure out how to get back. So routing and things like that are crazy. But you might end up on a street that you're not supposed to be, and more of these towns are throwing up the sign, no commercial vehicles, and you're like, oh, I'm already committed, and next thing you know, you're getting a $250 fine because you pull through a town. It's going to build some revenue based on that mistake.
Yeah.
And so what's your suggestion? How's the best way to avoid that situation?
Well, just get your butt out of the truck and go walk.
Yeah. Don't assume.
All it would have taken, if I'd have walked even 100 feet, 30 yards, If I'd have just walked and looked around the building before I moved the truck, I'd have been, okay, I'm going to have to back up real slow, take it easy. I mean, these are brand new trailers, so I can't touch, I can't do anything.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's
Just a little bit of recon saved me a lot of time.
Yeah, and talking about backing, those combos like that, I have seen people do the backing on that. Not the ones that are capable of doing that for, what I would say, length of distance. Wow, that's very, very impressive.
That's not me.
That's definitely not me either. So so my hat is off to you, professional.
I mean, my
drivers
grandson. I used to have a boat, and it'd go in my garage, and I had to back it around a corner and then back into that L. You've been to my garage.
I've seen your garage.
And it was a 26-foot Sea Ray, and I could back that up and in and around. And Cade used to say, "says You're a good backer upper."
A good backer upper.
But backing up a set of doubles.
Oh boy.
Especially when you're already turned and you're already kind of cattywampus and you're in a tight area. It's like there's only one way out of this, and it's got to be forward.
Yeah, well, somehow you got to know how to counter those other pivots, and you're already backwards, going the other way, steering opposite just to back up the one trailer, and then you got to control those other pivot points. Absolutely.
That was one of those trips that was rough, because I remember going north out of Casper after that. We had a hard northwest wind, and it was snow-packed and icy and everything.
Boy.
I could look out my left mirror and not see either trailer. I look out my right mirror, and I see both of them, and the pup is kicking up gravel.
Oh.
So, I mean, we had wind.
Oh, boy. Yeah, up in Wyoming. Fun. Yeah, not fun at all. Well, fantastic. Well, wow. Yeah, good story. So appreciate that. All right. Well, I think that kind of brings us to the end, Keith. Well, I'm glad to see you again. Hope 2026 is
get
good.
26 going.
Not just for you, but for all of our listeners out there. And appreciate everybody tuning in and listening. Stay safe out there. Drivers, thank you for what you do, and all the companies that are committed to safety. We appreciate you, that kind of thing. So keep our shiny side up, and we'll be catching you on one of the next podcasts.
God bless you guys.